on my behalf, my name is Mikko Pajula. I'm from LUT University in Lappeenranta, and it is already 3 past 12 here in Finland and 1 p.m. Moscow time. So I think we can start by giving the floor to Erkki from LUT University, Lappeenranta. And I would like to remind, if you have any problems, please put your questions in the chat. We will try to solve them. Okay, thank you.
I am coordinator from Finland side, and I will describe the university who is taking part from Finland side, and then Alexei Udovichenko will describe more details about the program. So university marketing has this kind of logo, and university strategy has 4 parts: air, water, and energy, and everything is combined by business. University is medium size, students about 6,000, staff about 1,000. And university has a high reputation in international level, top 300 about all universities. And then talking about sustainability and climate actions, Lappeenranta top 10 university. Important part in university is sustainability, ecology, economy, and social sustainability. Sustainability, it means clean water, it means clean energy, it means industry, it means climate actions, it means responsible consumption, it means economic growth, it means partnership. Practical activities about sustainability exist big amount of practical applications. And university has a big impact. University helps business and society to be sustainable. Additionally, university has separate organization to help small companies. Green Campus Open promote university research to make business. So 73 patents. So big activity about small business. So this was my part. Erkki Lähderanta, Lappeenranta, lut.fi.
Я буду говорить по-русски, поскольку у нас есть перевод. Я координатор проекта с русской стороны. Я работаю в физико-техническом институте имени ИОФе. И мы вместе с нашими коллегами из Финляндии делаем эту конференцию как открывающую конференцию большого трехмесячного учебного проекта, который мы назвали «Устойчивое развитие в 21 веке». Соответственно, почему мы придумали этот проект? Потому что мы уже давно занимаемся совместными проектами по поддержке инновационных проектов между Россией и Финляндией. И абсолютно очевидно, что в Финляндии накоплен огромный опыт по циркулярной экономике, по устойчивому развитию. Им удалось не только это накопить как теоретический опыт, но им удалось создать за последние годы 50 тысяч рабочих мест в области только циклической экономики. Поэтому мы считаем, что это именно та тематика, которой нужно русским компаниям у финских коллег учиться, и поскольку есть такая возможность, мы начали этот учебный проект. Соответственно, самым большим, но не единственным, чему посвящена наша учебная программа, будет то, что называется принципы циркулярной экономики. Вот эти 6 принципов, я надеюсь, вы видите их на экране. В принципе, большая часть нашего курса этому и посвящена, но не только, поскольку, как мы узнали из практического опыта внедрения всего того, что касается устойчивого развития, практик и бизнес-моделей устойчивого развития, 75% полезного результата, а полезный результат – это снижение рисков, таких как экологические, экономические, социальные, а также риски, связанные с корпоративным управлением. Так вот, выяснилось то, что по факту у очень многих компаний, не у всех, но очень у многих, 75% их результата, а результат – это улучшение ESG-рейтингов. Именно происходит за счет внедрения принципов циклической экономики. Но есть, конечно, и другие вещи, такие как возобновляемая энергия, захоронение углерода и прочие вещи, связанные с устойчивым развитием. Соответственно, да, вот с помощью наших финских коллег мы обратились изначально к Лаперанскому технологическому университету, а через них мы вышли и на другие организации, которые очень авторитетны в Финляндии по устойчивому развитию. Это другой финский университет, Турку политехнический университет прикладных наук, его еще называют Турку политехник, а также на школу, экологическую школу Финляндии, которая называется Сюкли. И все вместе эти организации разработали тот курс, который мы вам предлагаем. Соответственно, если обратите внимание, как мы этот курс структурировали, в нем есть 3 неравные части. Ну, во-первых, будет то, что называется политические части, да, это вот климатическая политика, это раскрытие и подтверждение отчетности по ESG, зеленое финансирование, это первое. Также будут вводные курсы, введение в устойчивость и введение в циркулярную экономику. А дальше будет около 14 курсов, которые раскрывают с разных сторон все принципы циклической экономики. Если посмотреть на тот список курсов, который у нас получился, их вот здесь 18, сейчас не имеет смысла изучать этот список. Я должен сразу сказать, что вообще наша программа отличается от других тем, что обычно они бывают намного меньше. По 18 модулей обычно никто не делает, их может быть 6, их может быть 8. И как вы поймете позже, на самом деле нету такой отрасли, где все эти 18 курсов нужны. На самом деле здесь несколько таких групп модулей, которые на самом деле нужны. Какая-то группа в одной отрасли, какая-то в другой. Соответственно, у вас будет возможность, при желании, конечно, очень полно изучить проблему, стать таким межотраслевым специалистом, если вы освоите весь этот объем. И в любом случае вы сможете выбрать для себя какую-то часть, которая подходит к вашей отрасли. Соответственно, и буквально 2 слова, что же мы собираемся делать после того, как этот курс закончится. Вообще сейчас есть большая проблема в том, что касается устойчивого развития, и в том, что касается раскрытия и подтверждения информации по ESG. Она состоит в том, что площадок, на которых такое раскрытие происходит, их много. Их много в мире, их уже крупных несколько, и скоро, наверное, их будут десятки в мире. Это означает то, что одна и та же компания может таким образом, отчитываясь на разных площадках, получать разные рейтинги. Ну, что, в общем-то, дает какую-то почву для манипуляций. Поэтому что мы хотим делать уже и после того, как наш текущий проект закончится? Мы хотим основать и развивать сообщество профессионалов по ESG, а также мы хотим, чтобы это сообщество, и мы собираемся этим заниматься в дальнейшем, коммуницировало с сектором исследований и разработок для того, чтобы защититься таким образом от того, что называется greenwashing, когда люди только изображают, когда компании только изображают, что у них очень хорошие показатели по устойчивому развитию, и вы, наверное, периодически слышите то, что бывает в том числе у крупных компаний, достаточно большие скандалы, связанные с тем, что кто-то, кто преподносил себя как очень даже зеленый, очень даже устойчивый, на самом деле выяснялось то, что там было много хитростей. И вот мы рассчитываем на две вещи. То, что если будет создано и будет жить сообщество профессионалов со стороны корпорации, с одной стороны, а с другой стороны они будут постоянно коммуницировать и сотрудничать с научным сектором, тогда это будет действительно основанная на науке корпоративные стратегии, и постепенно эти проблемы будут решены. Поэтому мы призываем вас, ну, во-первых, когда вы будете учиться, те из наших слушателей, кто примут для себя решение обучиться на нашем курсе, они будут делать это через наш сайт, где нужно будет зарегистрироваться, где можно будет коммуницировать с экспертами и между собой. Таким образом мы рассчитываем то, что уже в процессе обучения произойдет завязывание сети, да, завязывание контактов за пределом своей компании с вашими коллегами и с экспертами, в том числе из Финляндии, и не только, из разных стран. И таким образом, и постепенно мы рассчитываем то, что это все вырастет в профессиональное международное сообщество по устойчивому развитию. Это, во-первых. А вторая вещь, то, что и все это для того, чтобы это сообщество получало поддержку, интеллектуальную поддержку и научную поддержку от научного сообщества, от экспертов из разных областей естественных наук, и таким образом делало действительно научно обоснованные корпоративные стратегии, которые действительно приведут к устойчивому развитию, а не к его имитации. У меня все. Большое спасибо.
So hello everyone. My name is Aura Piha and I come from Sykli. I'm a sustainable development specialist and I've been working in Sykli since 2018 on various topics relating to sustainability and circular economy, system thinking, your organization's handprint. So in addition to footprints, concentrating on the positive handprint. My background is in environmental science and forest science. So there's a few words about myself. And what I'm going to be talking to you about is, well, in the introduction to sustainable development and partly also in the systems course is the planetary boundaries system. So this is from a meta research from 2019 originally. Rockström et al. At the Stockholm Environment Institute, they tried to find what systems we have on the planet and then define some quantitative safe operating spaces and boundaries that we should not cross in terms of these systems. And there was a recap of this in 2015 to see where we are going with the boundaries, and this graph is from 2015. I won't go into detail here in the introduction, but basically we have stepped over several of these system boundaries, and well, climate change doesn't actually look so urgent in this graph, but the reality is a bit different. If you have heard in the news that people are trying to, or organizations and countries are trying to achieve science-based targets and a maximum increase in the temperature of 1.5 degrees, that 1.5 degrees is the kind of limit when we step over into the red zone, and then we step into a zone of very high uncertainty and very high risk. And currently we're on a trajectory that goes to much more than 1.5, currently about 3 degrees. So even though in this graph climate change might not look urgent, it really is an urgent sustainability issue. The other things that are urgent, according to this research, is biodiversity loss, which is to the left of climate change in this graph, and then land system change, which is on the left in the yellow zone, and then down below there are the biogeochemical flows of 2 nutrients, nitrogen and phosphorus. So we're going to be studying these systems and how to go back to the safe operating space, which is the green zone. And because sustainability also includes some social issues, we're going to be looking at this theory called donut economics, devised by Kate Raworth. And she expanded on the planetary boundaries theory and came up with donut economics. So in addition to not being allowed to cross the planetary boundaries, we are not allowed to fall in the pit of social unsustainability. So how to stay on that donut is what organizations are trying to do. And climate change is not just an issue for, it's not just an environmental issue. Actually, the planet has of course been hotter in the past as well. Currently, climate change is very much a crisis for humankind, not exactly the planet, and of course other species as well. So climate change and other environmental crises are really affecting our economy and like us humankind. This is a report by the International Labour Organization. We're going to be having a look at that a little bit throughout my courses, but basically the message is that the planet will become in some ways too hot to work on, which of course then has an immediate effect on our economy. Climate change affects business everywhere. If you think that, okay, maybe in my country or in my region, the effects of climate change are not that severe, but today we live in a globalized world. Supply chains are very long and involve a lot of different regions and countries. So organizations need to consider whether there is raw material even available and what's the price. What's the availability of intermediate products and services? As we have seen now with the pandemic, there's a lot of intermediate products and services that are not available, causing then disruptions in the supply chain. Also, organizations need to consider through where they can transport, which regions, and what is the price of that. And then just a very basic slide on what is sustainable development, how does it compare with circular economy and recycling. So a lot of times people think that these terms are interchangeable, but basically sustainable development is the big picture. It takes into account all of the 3 dimensions, so ecological, social, and economic. And then circular economy is a toolbox for achieving ecological and economical sustainability. It doesn't in itself take into account social sustainability. So we need to remember that while we transition into a circular economy world. And many people think recycling and circular economy are the same thing, but circular economy is like a big toolbox of various kind, and also like a whole different way of thinking about our economy, whereas recycling is one tool in this toolbox. A very important aspect of sustainable development are the UN Agenda 2030 Sustainable Development Goals, of which there are 17 and 169 sub-targets. And organizations need to, well, the main responsibility of advancing the SDGs lies with governments, but also everyone is needed to advance these goals. And organizations need to increasingly take into account the sustainable development goals in their own operations. You don't need to take into account all of them, but you can't just cherry pick one which you want to advance. You have to take into account sustainability on a broader scale. So the problem until now, or approaching the problem, the traditional way of approaching is to find the source of the problem or split the problem into manageable parts and then fix it. To find the source of the problem, we usually chop up the systems into smaller chunks and try to find where the problem is, and then we fix it. And the problem at the moment is that it doesn't work for the complex problems that we have today, for example, climate change, because it is there are problems in every single little bit that we split the system into. And why it's difficult to find the source of the problem is that the emissions and the effects occur far away from each other in space and time. So our human brains can't really put those two together. And also the effects of our emissions persist for a long time, even if we fix things. So that's why we need to have this systemic approach, and we need to have faith in that if we fix it now, we will get benefits in the longer term. And also the current economic system encourages the disruption of the carbon cycle. So the fossil fuel driven economy is how our world works at the moment. That's why we need a bigger system change. And what we are trying to do is we're trying to decouple economic growth from natural resource use. So currently those two are married. The more we use natural resources, the more we are able to get economic growth. And what we're going to try to do is decouple this marriage. Won't go into that into detail now, but I will cover these in the courses that I am teaching. What kind of megatrends are seen in the system at the moment? We have an urgent need for ecological restoration. So we just don't need to just stop emitting or polluting at the moment. We also need to fix what we have already destroyed. Also, another megatrend to take into account is that the population is aging and diversifying in many parts of the world. The population is still going to continue to grow for some time, and then it'll be around 10 billion, and from there on it won't grow that much anymore. There's increasing power in networks rather than hierarchies. Technology will
Очень высокая численность населения Земли, порядка 10
Now I can
миллиардов.
hear the translation. And then lastly, the economic system will
дальше
look for a new
экономические
direction.
системы будут искать, мы будем искать новых направлений в работе экономических систем.
What organizations need to do is that they need to take into account both the economic, social and ecological aspects.
И сейчас мы видим социальные и экономические аспекты.
And decrease their negative footprint.
И также увеличивается отрицательное влияние, которое сохраняется.
I won't go into the circular economy business models at the moment. I will cover them in the introduction to
циклической экономике, но я буду делать на курсе вступления. И я сейчас хотела бы оставить такую мысль для вас, что какого будущего хотим, мы можем применить мышление к организационным процессам. И это означает, что какие черты возможны, какие черты вероятны, и какие желательны, какие недозначены.
And these are the 5 courses that I will be
и вот это 5
teaching and their
курсов.
dates. Thank you.
I could first start by telling short about myself. I've been working at Sykli since 2016, and my most expert fields are circular economy and waste management. My education is I'm a Master of Science in Technology. I studied at Helsinki University of Technology, and in addition to that, I'm also a vocational teacher. Previous workplaces have been Aalto University, where I also did research and teaching in environmental field, and I've also been working at some waste management companies before that. So most of my working history has been with environmental issues. I could say a few words about Sykli. Sykli is an environmental school and a special vocational college. And all our work has to do with environmental knowledge and to improve customers' operations in a more sustainable manner. And mostly we teach different groups. We have further and continuing education for adults, but also shorter training courses. And we do also a lot of consultation and development projects. Okay, and today I was asked to talk about circular economy and production and recycling. And actually, I will be teaching 4 of these courses, and 3 of them relate directly to this topic. And so I will be presenting a little bit what I will be teaching in these courses. Recycling processes for materials in circular economy, which I will be having on March the 16th. Circular economy for materials processing, which I will be having on April the 13th. And manufacturing processes for recyclable products, which I will be having on May the 6th. And in addition to these, I will also be teaching the course of biological cycles in circular economy. So I will tell a few words about that as well in the end. First, the recycling process for materials in circular economy. We look into what recyclable materials we have, the main things about waste policy and waste hierarchy, a little bit of the legislation, and also look into technologies and treatment methods and logistics for recyclable materials. On April the 13th, I will be having about circular economy for materials processing, and there the emphasis will be on life cycle thinking. I know you will be having another course on life cycle assessment, but in this day we will be having more about the life cycle thinking in terms of material efficiency and how to shift design to eco-design and about the end of life stage and recycling. And last but not least, I will be having manufacturing processes for recyclable products on May the 6th. And they're more about the legislation and also end of waste legislation. And also what I think is very important is to understand what risks are posed by circular economy and using this kind of materials. And well, maybe not included in this topic, but I will also be having on March the 2nd a course on biological cycle in circular economy, and here we will be looking more into the natural biological cycles and also the utilizing and recycling methods for these bio wastes and other organic materials. So thank you. That was actually all I had prepared for today. But welcome to the courses later on.
Добрый день, and welcome to the course, everyone. Do you see now the full screen or okay? So my topics are today, it's technical cycle in circular economy and disclosure and verification of ESG information. I have been working in Sykli forever, so very long time, and nowadays I'm active with environmental consulting and educating environmental management, decarbonation, and circular economy. Some kind of fundamental figure of this circular economy is this so-called butterfly diagram created by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation, and there we see two cycles: biological cycle and technical cycle, and we see these different kind of cycles, and this traditional recycling is there here quite out this outer cycle, and now we are our aim is concentrate more on these inner circles here. In technical cycle, which is the topic of my lecture, we have two very important principles. We have design out waste and pollution, so that we don't concentrate on circulating the waste, but we start from the beginning, trying to design out and do the carry out the processes so that there is no waste and no pollution. And the other very important principle is that keep products and materials in use as long as possible. And how we are doing this, so it means of course changing and developing our routines, but also maybe creating new business models. And here we can see this maintain, prolong, reduce, redistribute, refurbish, remanufacture, recycle, and share. So they can be also the titles for the new business models, and this is and in the course we study them, and we also study or look at the examples, some case studies, companies who have used and implemented these models. In this technical cycle, so what we are doing, or where we are concentrating is this sustainable business, and here I have tried to describe the whole business model in one picture. So we started with this design and R&D, and this is number one and number two, and so there are, as I already said, there are this is very important to start this design thinking about the circularity. And the other very important thing is that we create the products for our customers and for our customers' businesses. So that's very, very central. Then number three is source recycled and recyclable materials, and it's about procurement, what kind of what kind of materials and services we buy. And although it's here only one line, so if we open it, there are all the value chains and supply chains inside there, and it's very important topic, and that's what we are going to look at as well. Then of course we have self-manufacturing or remanufacturing and sales, resales, and one very interesting thought that if all the manufacturers should take back all their products what they are producing, so how would that change their operations? So I think it would have a very big influence, and so take back products at the end of life, and so how to do that in a economic and ecological way. Then in circular economy, the technologies and the data are very important. I think Ari already mentioned that, so that it's if we want to develop new solutions, it's important that we utilize new technologies, and it's very important to gather the data and use the data for the development work. Then the very important thing is also that in circular economy we can start with our own company and our customers, but if we want to go on, we need a whole ecosystem, and if the circular economy is going to proceed in the society, so we need these circular ecosystems and this networking and this collaborating with partners is more important than it used to be. And in the center here is strategy and leadership, and it means that it's not all about technology. It's also transforming the culture and steering. So we can't make the change if we don't change our culture and our way of thinking. So the three lines here are customer value delivery, resource handling, organization, and collaboration, which are the very important processes in this sustainable business. In this technical cycle in circular economy, there's also homework assignment for you, and well, it's identifying the advantages and untapped potential of the circular economy in the field of your organization. What kind of possibilities there are, what kind of potential, and also what kind of capabilities are needed to start and carry out the green transformation in your own field. The other topics is disclosure and verification of ESG data, and well, maybe there are a lot of these abbreviations which don't sound so very clear, but it's this ESG reporting is all the time more important because companies are accountable for their various stakeholders. And we also need global sustainable reporting because this climate change and also this sustainable development goals require a global approach. It's our common thing. It's not only for one country or one city or one company. Businesses have global value chains and they face global risks, and also capital is coming from global investors. And all these investors, companies, and other stakeholders, they benefit from a common language of sustainability reporting. So there are three pillars: environmental, social, and then this corporate pillar. And I've chosen for this course two reporting disclosure system. This global reporting initiative, which is the most widely used, and is all the time developing these standards, and they are also collaborating with United Nations and they have created a guide integrating the SDGs into corporate reporting, and Aura already showed you and talked about these SDGs, which are very important, but it's also very good that if we can also integrate them in our reporting pattern. So concentrating on these two reporting systems, I think we can get a good picture of this disclosure systems as whole. And the last thing, why verification? And at the beginning, I think it was mentioned that we try to avoid this greenwashing risks, and this verification, this third-party verification is a very good practice because it improves internal systems and controls, and it ensures compliance with policies and regulation, and it also provides a greater credibility and gives security for clients, customers, and wider stakeholders. So it's a good tool to avoid this greenwashing risk. Homework assignment here is searching and presenting relevant examples of ESG information in the industries comparable to your own organization. So that's briefly about these two courses, and hopefully they interest you. Thank you.
Thank you. Greetings from Turku, from Finland. So nice to be here and nice to meet all of you. There were so many participants, and it's although a little bit difficulties, but I think this is so well organized, all the translation and everything. So my name is Pia Nurmi, and I come from Turku University of Applied Sciences. The short name for us is TUAS. And this is a Finnish university based in Turku on the coastline. I'm a research group leader, and the research group I'm leading is Circular Business Models. And I also have a little circular economy update. I'm telling about the TUAS courses. We are offering 4 of them. Then I have some company examples. And yes, I'm also happy to answer any questions if you might have. So during the presentation, you can put it, save the questions in the chat box, and I'm happy to answer if there are any questions. So the research group I'm leading, it's called Circular Business Models. In my little circular economy update, I will tell you a little bit about these business models, but basically the business models are to do when we try to solve the issues in current world. We need to operate the business in a different way. And always when we do business, we have some kind of business model. And in this circular economy operations, there are a few different alternatives for the baseline of the business models. Our research group, Turku University of Applied Sciences, is a big university, and we have 20 different research groups. And this one, the one I'm leading, it's a rather big one. Our annual turnover is approximately 1 million euro, so we do a lot of work with companies. I will tell in my presentation some examples from our current ongoing projects, but here I want to emphasize that we do them with companies. So our operations are always focusing on the company needs to develop business. And therefore also the courses we are offering are based on the knowledge we have. So it's like business oriented. Our research group focuses on circular economy in companies, circular business model development, and also development of teaching or education. We have a lot of student-company cooperation, and unfortunately, in this module that we are offering with Lappeenranta and Sykli to you, then here it's not possible to do student-company cooperation. But I'm very happy to say that in previous years, we have had exchange students from Russia also coming to our university, and we have had with Russian students also student-company cooperation. It's a very important part of our job. When we have this student-company cooperation, students get a lot of knowledge and for the CV and for about the working life, and also companies get a lot of students can do a lot of important work, as many of these circular economy issues are such that companies really have to research and develop systems and benchmark. Our university is also happy to say that we are partners in the Elema Tartu Foundation, which is has been also mentioned here before. It's a global network, and I can really recommend their library and resources on their webpage. They have a lot of good materials also. Just some pictures on before Corona, COVID situation. We've been able to meet more, and these are some pictures from the student company cooperation in earlier years. So just a little, I'm coming back to this at the end of the presentation, but some examples of our ongoing projects. With companies, we are focusing on bio-based plastics. And there are also many other research organizations. Then we have a European project on to use these new circular business models in different regions in Europe. That project is called Reduces, and we have made a lot of company cases from there in that project, and I'm actually showing you a few today, and in our courses we are going through more of them, because I think due to our experience, companies often learn best if they can follow other companies' example. It's not, I don't mean copying, but you need to understand the business logic, and you maybe get inspired by the other companies' examples. Then it's a project starting next week, Telavalue. We've been working with circular economy of textiles a lot. And this was actually something our students, when I had the Russian students a few years ago, they also tried to look into the textile recycling in Russia. And it didn't go further from there, but I know it's something that the recycling of different waste sections, it's of course a big thing in Russia also, because in circular economy, just like the earlier speakers were saying, it's important to design things so that we don't get waste, but also in the current situation, we do get waste, and then we need to collect the material and improve it and use it again. So it's very important to circulate the material in the system. And this is what we are doing with companies in the Telavalue network. Then we have something called CircWaste. It's a Finnish company, a big one. We are really trying it with municipalities to improve circular economy. And then final one on this list, this is not all, but these are the main ones. It's KICA 2025. It's a research project with the Finnish universities, and my team is taking care of the interaction there. So top researchers are researching circular business there. So based on those examples, we are working with the companies, and we have developed courses for you. But before telling more about the courses, I tell you a little bit about circular business models. This is a picture also from Elemat Auto Foundation that was mentioned a few times already before. And just the basics of circular economy. We are shifting, we are moving to a system where we design out waste and pollution. So we try to design a product so that there is no waste. We try to keep products and materials in use. So every time a phone has been developed into a phone, and a pen has been developed into a pen, and so on, clothes and everything, when they are a product, it's important to keep that product in that use, because that is the most environmentally friendly way. But then when the end of life of that product is coming, it's still important to keep the material in use. And the third one is to regenerate natural systems, to keep the natural systems alive and to make them more healthy again. So this is circular economy in a nutshell. And now the business models. This material is from, in the bottom you see source. It's called Circular Economy Playbook for Finnish SMEs. And this material, this playbook, has been developed by Sitra in Finland and also a consultancy agency a few years ago. And actually they are launching a new version of this playbook in February. And we have been working a lot with Sitra, also for company courses earlier. And we have used the earlier playbook, and I'm hoping to integrate the new playbook into the courses we are offering you, because we have found this playbook a very easy for companies to understand kind of framework to operate. So I'm hoping the playbook is something that we are talking to you more on the courses. So that's why I'm mentioning it. But here, in a nutshell, this of course vary from company to company. But the circular business models are, for example, the yellow one, recovery and recycling. Then we have the light blue one, a product life extension, so to making products to be used longer. Then we have something called product as a service. For example, I have an example later on today about a company renting out clothes as a service. Then we have sharing platform. In Finland, we have more and more companies offering, for example, like cars that you can borrow car from your neighbor through a sharing platform, or then you can borrow in. It's not so much used in. It's only starting to be used in Turku, which is a smaller city, but in Helsinki you have had more sharing platform where you can rent out, for example, a what is pora? Someone help me. Some kind of machines.
You mean drill?
Drill. Some kind of machines. You are renovating your home and you don't want to buy all of the machines, and you can rent it out. So that's sharing platform. And then we have circular supply chain. And these are, for companies, these business models are good to understand in that sense that you can start developing your current business or create something new with the help of these business models. For example, a little time before we had a similar courses that we are offering you to Finnish companies, and there was one company offering gas detection products, gas detection products. And they realized that they could start taking back the old detectors, renew them and sell them again. That's to do with product life extension. And they were very surprised that instantly when they started, it started to be profitable business. They were expecting that it could take a little bit longer to be profitable, but in their case, the new business was profitable from the beginning. Then I have a few numbers here just to motivate that there are a lot of business opportunities in these topics. So the Turku University of Applied Sciences is offering 4 courses to the system, to the module you are doing. The first is product design in circular economy, waste management, life cycle analysis, and systemic change and megatrends. And our research group experts, we are 12 people, sorry, 12 people. So we have divided ourselves into groups of 3 and 4 people, and we've been making these lectures for you. It's a little bit different from Sykli. These are not going to be online lectures, but recordings. And we will try to make our best to include as much company examples here as possible, because we think that it's valuable for you to get new ideas for your businesses. Then, of course, on these lectures and courses, you also have the homeworks. And here we've been creating homework on the product design. The homework is focusing on what could be the key steps for you, your company to apply this method. Then waste management, how can your company work more efficiently in waste management to prevent waste. And then life cycle analysis. We want to teach you the basics of life cycle analysis and how you can use it in your business development. And then the systemic change and megatrends. How is the world changing and how can our company adapt to the change? Then some of the company examples I promised. It was a little bit, I was thinking what kind of examples to bring you. And all of these three, I'm bringing you 3 examples. So all of these are from that reduces, I'm going to come back to this, but these are from this reduces project, because they are all around Europe. We have collected examples from different good practices and examples from companies and regions on different business models. And I just also wanted to inform you that all the materials in this website in the source section, all of the materials are free to use and they are nice examples. Our team will use many of these examples in our courses, but I just wanted to say that it's, I think they're quite nice materials. So the first one, it's not only one company, but it's a region, a place called Topinpuisto. It's an actual place here in Turku, and it's based on an old waste management company site, old landfill. Nowadays, it is a circular economy park and network, and Topinpuisto, it's the name of the place. It's a sharing platform for companies to share ideas and to do pilots. And in this region, companies can do industrial symbiosis to try to use the other one's waste material in their operations. In the area and in the network, there are now 17 companies involved. And Topinpuisto development has been very active for at least 10 years now. And this kind of, I don't remember who, was it from Sykli who said that the cooperation is a key in circular economy. And this kind of area, Topinpuisto emphasizes it, that these companies together have, of course, each of them is focusing on their own business, but they are also learning from each other. And just last week, there were big exciting news from this region, this Topinpuisto, that the local waste management company, LSCH, has got funding from the Finnish government for 5.2 million euros. And the total operations is costing 20 million euros. And they are building a full-scale end-of-life textile refinement plant in Topinpuisto area. But this all is possible through the cooperation that has been taking place for 10 years already. So sometimes you get the benefits and new business instantly. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer. And this plant, the end-of-life textile refinement plant means that when we have textile as clothing or some other textiles, at some point it's not usable anymore. It has holes or it's all worn out, and you have to get rid of it. So nowadays, in many countries in Europe and elsewhere, we burn the fabrics. And this is not good circular economy practice. It's better to use it as a new material. And this plant is focusing on that. So this is very exciting and big news for the industry and for Topinpuisto, of course. Then the two other examples are very, very different. The second example is a little company with shops in a few places in Finland, and they are renting clothing rental company. They offer clothing as a service. It's quite inspiring still that they have grown a lot. The turnover in 2016 was 22,000 euros, and now it's over 200,000 euros. And they are renting out especially garments for parties, such things that cost a lot and you only use maybe once. And it's been very, very liked, and customers have liked it. And then the final example is a green carpet company. They have created a mobile carpet laundry service. So they do not have a factory or they don't have washing factory or washing plant. They have this kind of cars or trucks that go from place to place and make carpets clean again. And the key thing, of course, they don't need the building, and they also, this system reduces the water consumption approximately 80% compared to a building where you have the washing machines. So the a saving of water is very much a big thing. For all of these case studies, I've only taken a little part of the materials we have put into the good practice cases, and so there is so much more to learn from these companies also. But yes, we operate with companies in all of these projects, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions you might have. Here is my contact information, and I'm also very happy to interact with the students on this course. So thank you from my behalf, and just if there are any questions, I'm available. Thank you.
All right, thank you, colleagues. It has been a very nice meeting. So very briefly about the company. This is limited partnership company, and it's established 1998. And I have been in 15 years ICT branch working there, and 12 years at sea as officer of watch in a passenger and on a passenger and cargo ships, mainly in Baltic Sea and on the Caribbean Sea too. And we are focusing, this company is focusing now to sustainability, Internet of Things, and maritime cybersecurity. I've been working now 3 years on European Union projects, and those has been like sustainability and automation projects for autonomous vessels. We are also having many cooperators and subcontractors, because we are quite small company, but we are doing a lot of cooperation. And we are going to have advanced sea and river shipping to smart ports, and what are those ecological impacts for them and what they need to do. The day is 18th of May, and what I'm going to tell about there, it's about shipping commerce overall, like how many ships are in the world, and what's the scale of that, and what are the different laws what we have on sea. We have International Maritime Organization codes and European Union laws, and of course there is always the last one. It's a master of the vessel who is actually deciding always of the security and safety of vessel, cargo, and crew, and also the passengers. And I'm going to take some kind of example of, for example, how the cargo is coming from Asia to Far Asia to Europe, and from Europe to Finland and Russia, so they can see the whole logistics chain of that, and what are the different kind of ecological impacts for this logistics chain. I'm going to have some kind of part of size of Finnish ports versus Russian ports, harbors, and I have some slides in the end of the show if I have time. And second one is this ecology and environment section, and there's going to be some more laws, what is like affecting environment and issues of ecology, and we have on maritime branch we have lots of pressure now from the public, because with the maritime industry, it's big industry, and there is coming some emissions, and we have done a lot of that to minimize those emissions right now. Maritime spatial planning, how it's very important, and I'm taking care of sea in the Gulf of Finland and also the rivers, and there is also, it has been very long time, very important topic, this maritime spatial planning, also in the Russia. And in this section, I shall also speak about the climate change, and there has been very good examples in previous shows, previous speeches. They have talked about what's going to happen when its temperature is rising, and what we need to do for that. And it's about greenhouse gases, what we are producing with ships, and how we are going to minimize those, like what's going to next in like a 10 years period, 20 years period, and until 2050. That's like a time schedule for that. And this maritime traffic gas greenhouse gases emissions, they are like 25% overall. Like there is aviation and trucks trains and everything, and it's total is 25% of all greenhouse gases in the world, but shipping produces only 2.7% of emissions today. It has been increasing, and if you are not doing anything, it's going to increase a lot of more, because the world fleet of ships and vessels, it's going to increase 40% until 2050. So we have a double-sided sword that we need to minimize emissions, and then we are still having a big increase of ships in the world. And Aura said in the first session that what are the climate change, what are the harm, what there is coming, like humanitarian problems, rising sea levels, ocean warming, glaciers are shrinking, and there is also changes in composition of the sea, like for example ice, which is covering here in Baltic Sea and the North Pole. It's the composition is like changing a lot, and of course living conditions, they are going to be hotter, and it makes there is extreme hot, warm, and somewhere there is always cold. What makes that there is lots of going to be rain, floods, hurricanes, typhoons in the Far East, which are damaging property and they are making injuries for the people. These ports, they are located very near of local and regional communities. What makes that these legal responsibilities and regulatory liabilities, they need to take care of these. And of course, these responsibilities to these communities, because we are producing climate change, and there is what we can do for that. There is some solutions of digitalization and migration and social integration, what can decrease these emissions. So we need to have lots of different kind of innovations to get more sustainable ports and seaports and river ports to protect environment. So we have, as I said, we have national and we have international laws what are affecting, and the law of sea, it's a United Nations law, and then we have an international maritime organization, which is it's a head of all for us, like mariners and shipping companies and everything. They are having those laws and rules and codes what we need to follow. Sorry about that. And yes, we are going to have many different kind of projects to decrease emissions. And sustainable maritime, it's like we have decisions from IMO, International Maritime Organization, that we need to reduce 50% of emissions until 2050. And it's very challenging for shipping companies, but we are going to do it. Public pressure today is that there is coming more and more pressure that it should be 0%, zero emission until that time. And we have lots of different kind of projects for that. And European Union is decreasing 40% from the level of 1990 until 2020. The sustainable ports, we have that kind of situation there. What we have done since 2015, these SECA areas, it's called like sulfur emission control areas. This kind of code came 2015. It has reduced a lot of sulfur emissions in the Baltics, on the Caribbean Sea, and also North Sea, and like in the channel of England between France, and also on the coast side of United States. And after 2020, it came to the whole world that we needed to lower these sulfur emissions. And what means that we have also some other things like particles, what we need to prevent to come to atmosphere. There is also waste management, collection. It's going to be very tight, these laws, how to collect waste and how they are like use it, recycle it, I mean. And there has been some thoughts about digital megatrends. We have heard that these megatrends, and digitalization is one of those megatrends. And it means that with digitalization we can do more productive, sustainable, and more efficiency, safety, these things what we are doing now to improve the productivity and cost effectiveness. And also we can do this kind of environmental best practices with digitalization. For example, there has been few years this kind of term like vessels just-in-time arrival, what means that they can reduce anchoring time. This kind of any kind of, for example, container ship, they have probably 1 or 2 main engine, and then they have 2 or maybe 3 to 4 like bigger container vessels. They have auxiliary engines, and always there is some engines working, and those are producing emissions to the cities and towns which are very near of ports. And when we can have this kind of just-in-time arrival system, it means that there is no anchoring, and we can like order trucks in the right time to the ports. So we can reduce also these emissions which are coming from the trucks. We can also minimize those in the near of towns and cities. So what means that if we can have so that we can have these trucks on time in harbor, we need to have also very smart cargo handling equipment and system. There need to be like a digital system for handling these just in time, the total chain, how to move cargo to the ports and load to the loading vessels and unloading the vessels and taking care of containers and all kind of bulk and what we are moving with ships. So we can take those very effectively from the ship to port and then to the customer or to some kind of logistics center. So we can decrease emissions by automating these entire logistics processes. And it means that we need to digitize all this paper-based logistic process to database process in future in very narrow time scale. And then we need to have truck tracking and route optimization to the trucks, so that they can always choose the best and valuable routes to their destinations. And there is coming, like you all know about cryptocurrencies, and those cryptocurrencies, they are called that they are made by blockchain technology, and it's very similar way to make this kind of software, and so they can assure that the data is always right, so there is nobody could possibly get there and change numbers and this kind of black hat hackers, that they are not possible to make harm there. And also we need to ports, we need guidance where the trucks need to go. It need to be much more clear than today. And of course, for these things, we need to have very smooth and fast mobile networks. So it's 5G. In the future, there's coming 6th generation of mobile networks. Now we have, actually we have nearly always, we have this 4G and 5G networks. They are enlarging. And then I told about Internet of Things. I believe nearly all have heard this, but there is lots of acronyms. What they are like. There are lots of different kind of Internet of Things, IoT products, and what we are using in our technology systems and WEHAs and everything. There are like called industrial Internet of Things devices. What means that there are lots of sensors, and there is robotics, automation to make these kind of autonomous systems. And we can use also artificial intelligence and machine learning to like get better systems for these autonomous vessels, automated and remote control cranes, automated kind WEHAs, trucks and cars, what we need to have on the ports and to move these cargo to the customers. And then we are going to have cybersecurity and these kind of cases of ports. I'm going to have homework and reflection on 23rd of May, and you're going to get this homework later on. Just what I want to show you why this is important. For example, transport volume in the Russian ports, it's like it was 2018 was 246 million tons, and comparing, for example, port of Hamina-Kotka, which is the biggest universal port in Finland, it's 50 million tons. Then we have Russian inland waterways, what is like length is over 100,000 kilometers, and the Russian shipping, it's really large branch. There is 54 shipping companies, 3,000 vessels, and it's affecting the 78% people on the Russian, those logistics. And also there is 6,500 kilometers rivers and this kind of system where ships are moving, and and they are transporting like 140 million tons. It's very impressive, the cargo volume. And thank you very much.
Как я понимаю, и участники, и все уже разобрались с переключением языков, поэтому перейду к главному. А именно к организационным моментам. По некоторым из них мы уже ответили в чате, но по основным нужно еще сказать несколько слов, и займет это 3-5 минут, вряд ли больше. Первое. Поскольку вы здесь, значит, скорее всего, вы подписаны на наш канал в Телеграме. Если нет, то запишите и подпишитесь. Почему? Потому что у нас очень напряженная программа, вы сейчас ее увидите. И там наверняка будут изменения, потому что кто-то заболеет, кто-то передвинется. И вот все эти изменения мы будем публиковать в этом чате. И по лекциям, и по семинарам, и по домашним работам, и по курсовым. Это первое, на что я обращаю ваше внимание. Второе. Вот наша программа, она выглядит сейчас таким образом. Она выложена в этот же самый Telegram-чат. Вы оттуда ее можете скачать. И тут вы видите, что каждый модуль имеет лекционную часть. Обычно это по средам, но может меняться в зависимости от праздников в Финляндии или в России. Поэтому какие-то передвижки есть. Но общее правило, что лекции по средам. И точно так же каждый модуль имеет домашнее задание. Вы видите это вот тут вот. И, собственно говоря, после лекции вы должны это домашнее задание успеть выполнить к семинару. Каждый семинар, опять же, общее правило, по понедельникам. Хотя тоже могут быть подвижки, связанные с праздником либо в Финляндии, либо в России. И на семинаре, собственно говоря, для чего семинары и предназначены, вы можете задать вопросы по тому, как вы поняли лекцию, вопросы по тому, как вы выполнили домашнее задание и получить обратную связь. Задача семинаров именно в этом. И, как вы видите, таких модулей у нас аж почти что 20 штук. Часть из них в виде видеокурсов, и по ним будет обобщенный семинар, об этом говорила представитель университета Турку. А все другие модули, каждая лекция имеет свой семинар. Программа, как вы видите, насыщенная. Каждая лекция будет проходить в 2 пары, говоря по-студенчески, то есть 4 часа академических. Каждый семинар – это 1 пара. Объем работы по домашнему заданию 1-2 страницы. Не пытайтесь сделать его большим. И это и не нужно. Главное, чтобы вы разобрались в теме. Вот такая у нас программа. Дальше. Второе, на что обращаю ваше внимание. У нас все проходит в Zoom, поэтому потестируйте ваш интернет для того, чтобы он был хорошим. Второй момент. Все вопросы лектору после лекции. Накапливаем их в чате. После лекции лектор отвечает. Все вопросы по домашней работе на семинаре. Ну и, собственно говоря, все вопросы и на семинаре во время лекции в чате. Выбирайте язык, какой вам удобно, английский или русский. Записываются обе версии. Мы сейчас как раз на конференции и протестируем, какого качества запись получится. И потом это все выкладывается либо, опять же, в этот же чат основная информация, но вся исчерпывающая информация, и об этом 3-й пункт, выкладывается на нашем специальном закрытом сайте. Адрес его указан. Он создан специально под этот курс и под его дальнейшее развитие. Это профессиональная социальная сеть, и именно здесь будут выложены все видеоматериалы. Почему? Потому что по требованиям разработчика они не должны быть в открытом доступе. Поэтому для того, чтобы иметь доступ к этим видеоматериалам, презентациям, различным заданиям, их разборам и различным всем другим материалам, которые у нас будут копиться по циклической экономике, по зеленой экономике, по ESG вопросам, все будет на этом сайте. в его закрытой части. То есть на сайте нужно зарегистрироваться, пройти процедуру регистрации и проверки, там e-mail, чтобы это был не спам. Обычно это в районе нескольких часов занимает. Вот. И после этого у вас будет полный доступ. Поэтому запишите этот сайт. Если забыли, то он у нас есть в главном меню на нашем основном сайте cbcfoina.com, где вы регистрировались наверняка. И в этом меню он фигурирует как ссылка под названием Networking или Network. Жмете, попадаете на наш сайт и регистрируетесь. Можете это сделать прямо сейчас. Первые видео, вот в частности сегодняшние, там появятся через день-два. Нам нужно их успеть смонтировать. И после каждого курса, через несколько дней, они будут туда выкладываться и будут вам доступны, в том числе и для повторного просмотра. Это третье, на что обращаю ваше внимание. Четвертое. Были вопросы по сертификату. Сертификат предоставляется для всех, кто не только прослушает курс, но, то есть нужно все лекции посетить, сделает все домашние задания. Кроме того, сделает курсовую работу. И здесь у вас не получится двойной работы, потому что курсовая работа, она, по сути дела, поэтапно выполняется на домашних заданиях. То есть у вас есть 19 домашних заданий, выполняя каждому модулю свой кусочек домашнего задания, вы, по сути дела, делаете кусочек мозаики вашей курсовой работы. Другое дело, это все потом нужно систематизировать и причесать, и вот в результате, как такое целое понимание всех ваших домашних заданий, у вас должна появиться курсовая работа. Поэтому есть определенный гайд на 2-3 странички, он тоже доступен на том сайте, и тоже выложим его и в группу в Телеграме, так что вам это все будет доступно. То есть главное, что вам нужно запомнить, это то, что сертификат означает, что вы сделали все домашние задания, сделали курсовую, побывали на всех лекциях и успели прислать в PDF-ке вашу курсовую не позже 27 мая на указанный e-mail. Это по сертификату. Ну и, собственно говоря, какой следующий у нас шаг? Помимо того, что вот 19 модулей, первый модуль уже будет очень скоро, и поэтому, а именно 2 февраля, и я для тех, кто планирует идти именно на сертификат и планирует делать курсовую работу, собственно говоря, предлагаю не только зарегистрироваться на сайте и в группе, но изучить гайд по созданию курсовой работы и выбрать для себя тему. Это самое главное, потому что это вам поможет и в домашних заданиях, и в курсовой работе. И у вас уже будут более осмысленные, более конкретные, помогающие вам вопросы на семинарах, на которые, собственно говоря, и отводится 1/3 учебного времени. Ну и, наконец, ближайший модуль, то есть первая лекция будет 2 февраля. Для Москвы очень удачно получилось абсолютно всегда и семинары, и лекции в 13 часов по московскому времени. У финнов это немножко прыгает из-за того, что у них есть зимнее и летнее время. И вот 2 февраля в 13 по Москве будет первый модуль Introduction to Sustainability. И, собственно говоря, если вы в группе, то у вас же будет и ссылка. Скорее всего, ссылка на вебинар будет та же самая, что и сегодня. Но, может быть, произойдут какие-то изменения, поэтому поглядывайте телеграм-канал, и если они произойдут, то мы выложим туда свежую ссылку. А так, в общем-то, все по организационным вопросам, что я хотел сказать.
I would like to thank the teachers, the attendees, and the translators for this conference, and I am looking forward to seeing you on the course later.